tangled web of lies and deceit in the young and the restless continues to grow tighter as Nate Hastings finds himself caught between the truth and the lies surrounding Audra Charles. His desire for honesty clashes with the manipulation at play, and the emotional stakes rise higher as Nate navigates through the murky waters of his relationships and the hidden agendas that threaten to destroy everything he once believed. The latest developments suggest that Nate is finally ready to confront Audra about her involvement in the complicated mess that has come to be known as the Vibrate scheme. For weeks, the secrets surrounding this covert operation have remained hidden in plain sight, and Nate, ever the idealist, believes in uncovering the truth no matter how painful it may be. He knows that to fully understand the situation and restore his own peace of mind, he must ask the tough questions. However, the answers he's seeking may not be the ones he's prepared to hear. As Nate begins to probe deeper into Audra's actions, he finds himself questioning her loyalty. Was Audra truly innocent, or is she just as complicit as the others? And what role does Kyle Abort play in the grand scheme of things? Nate's suspicions grow as he uncovers more about the events surrounding Kyle's involvement in the Vibrate operation. What if Kyle is also hiding something, participating in a plot that could tear apart everything that Nate holds dear? The truth, as always, is elusive, and Nate's quest for clarity brings him closer to the point of no return. Audra, knowing the pressure is mounting, begins to pull away from Nate, refusing to come clean about the extent of her actions. Her attempts to rewrite the narrative, to downplay her role in the plan that Victor Newman orchestrated, leave Nate frustrated and disillusioned. She insists on minimizing the situation, avoiding responsibility for the choices she made when she agreed to work with Victor to drive a wedge between Kyle and Claire Newman. But Nate isn't ready to let her off the hook that easily. Audra's reluctance to face the truth exposes the complexity of her character. She may claim to be doing everything for her career, for her survival, but the lies are beginning to catch up with her. Nate, however, remains steadfast in his desire for transparency. His mind races as he tries to piece together the fragments of the story he's being told, but every time he gets close to the truth, another layer of deception emerges. As the confrontation between Nate and Audra looms, Nate grapples with his own emotions. He wants to believe in her, wants to think that the woman he's grown close to isn't entirely tainted by the corruption that Victor represents. Yet, the more Audra deflates, the more Nate feels betrayed. He can't ignore the nagging feeling that something much bigger is at play, something more insidious than anyone is willing to admit. Audra, meanwhile, is stuck between a rock and a hard place. If she admits her role in the scheme, the consequences could be disastrous. Her career, her reputation, and her future with Victor could all come crumbling down. But denying the truth only prolongs the inevitable, and she knows that Nate isn't going to let her off the hook without a fight. Despite her best efforts, Audra realizes that Nate won't rest until she acknowledges her role in the plan. And that's something she may not be able to donate without further jeopardizing everything she's worked for. The emotional weight of the situation is compounded when Nate begins to reflect on his own struggles. He's still reeling from the death of Damian Kane and the impact it has had on Amy Lewis. Nate can't help but feel a sense of responsibility for the way things have unfolded in the wake of Damian's passing. Amy, devastated by the loss, has become a constant presence in Nate's thoughts. As he wrestles with his feelings for Audra, Nate is also consumed by guilt over the loss of Damian and the fallout it has caused for those closest to him. His emotional turmoil is palpable as he wonders whether his connection to Audra is worth the cost. Nate's relationship with Audra is now teetering on the edge. His pursuit of the truth has made him realize just how much he doesn't know about the woman he's been spending so much time with. Was it all a lie? Was she simply using him to further her own agenda? Or is there something deeper at play? Can Nate ever trust her again after everything she's done? And more importantly, can he forgive her for the betrayal, knowing that she was working with Victor Newman all along? As the drama unfolds, Nate is forced to come to terms with the reality of the situation. His pursuit of justice may come at a cost that he's not entirely prepared to pay. Will he walk away from Audra and the truth, or will he fight for her despite the damage she's caused? And what role will Kyle Abort play in this tangled web of lies? The answers may lie deeper than anyone realizes, and Nate's journey to find them could lead to a breaking point that changes everything in Genoa City. In the end, Nate's quest for the truth could very well cost him the relationships that matter most. As he confronts Audra and the shadows of the past, he is forced to ask himself, is it worth it? Can the truth heal, or will it only deepen the wounds that have already been inflicted? The future of Nate Hastings, Audra Charles, and the rest of Genoa City hangs in the balance, and only time will reveal how far the consequences of their actions will ripple through their lives. Nate Hastings finds himself in the throes of deep emotional turmoil as Audra Charles, the woman who has both captured his heart and entangled him in a web of lies, walks away from their relationship. Their connection, built on trust and mutual respect, has been anything but smooth, with hidden truths threatening to tear them apart. Now, Nate must navigate the painful reality of being without Audra, even as he grapples with the fallout of her betrayal. As the days pass, the absence of Audra's presence in his life becomes more pronounced. Nate can't help but remember the moments they shared, the way she helped him in his search for his brother, and the way she always seemed to know the right thing to say when he needed it most. Audra was a constant source of support during some of the most difficult times of Nate's life, especially as he tried to put the pieces together regarding his brother's disappearance. She had been there, offering solutions, providing comfort, and showing Nate a sense of understanding that he hadn't felt from many others. But now, with her gone, Nate feels a painful void. It's not just the absence of her companionship, but the feeling that he's been left in the dark about everything. Nate's mind races as he tries to understand how he could have been so blind to the truth. He trusted Audra, but as the layers of deception begin to peel away, he wonders if everything between them was built on a foundation of lies. The more he thinks about it, the more Nate feels as though he's been used, manipulated into believing a story that was never meant to be his reality. Despite the pain, Nate knows he must face the truth. Audra's involvement with Victor Newman, something she's been hiding from him for far too long, has left Nate questioning not only her integrity, but also his own judgment. How could he have missed the signs? How could he have been so trusting? Nate is not a man who easily gives up on people. His desire for the truth, however, outweighs his lingering feelings for Audra. As much as he misses her, he cannot ignore the betrayal he feels. Every time he thinks about the way she kept him in the dark about her collaboration with Victor, his heart sinks. Nate deserves honesty. He deserves to know the full truth, not just the pieces Audra has chosen to reveal. But as time passes, Nate realizes that Audra may never come clean on her own. The walls she's built around herself are too high, and the guilt she carries weighs too heavily on her to allow for an honest conversation. It's painful to watch someone he cared for so deeply continue to lie, especially when Nate has always tried to be transparent with her. The hurt is compounded by the fact that he still cares for her, still wants to believe that there's a chance for them to reconcile. But how can he forgive someone who has lied so repeatedly? Can he ever trust her again? The questions plague Nate's mind, and the more he thinks about it, the more he feels betrayed not just by Audra, but by his own inability to see the truth sooner. Could Nate have been so blinded by his feelings that he missed the red flags? Could he have been so wrapped up in the hope of a future with Audra that he ignored the signs of her deceit? These are the questions that keep him up at night, swirling in his mind as he tries to make sense of everything that has happened. Audra, meanwhile, continues to lie to Nate, hiding the full extent of her involvement with Victor. She's built a facade around herself, convincing herself that she's doing what's necessary to protect her future. But the truth is, Audra is afraid. Afraid of the consequences, afraid of losing Nate for good, and afraid of the power that Victor holds over her. She knows that the moment she admits the truth, everything will change. She fears that once Nate knows what she's done, he will never be able to look at her the same way again. The weight of her lies grows heavier with each passing day, but Audra is too afraid to confront the reality of what she's done. Still, Nate cannot ignore the fact that Audra helped him during his darkest hours. She was there for him when he needed someone to lean on, and her assistance in the search for his brother meant more to him than she will ever know. It's this kindness, this unspoken bond they shared, that makes the betrayal all the more painful. Audra's refusal to be honest with him now feels like the ultimate form of disrespect. Nate deserves to know the truth, not just about Audra's role in the Vibrate scheme, but about everything she's been hiding. He deserves to understand the full scope of her relationship with Victor and the motivations behind her actions. He's not just angry at her for lying, he's angry at himself for being too trusting, for believing that Audra was someone she wasn't. The question now becomes whether Nate will be able to find the strength to confront Audra, to force the truth out of her, even if it means losing her forever. Can he live with the idea of forgiveness, knowing that Audra's lies have made him look like a fool? Will he be able to rebuild his trust in her, or is this the final chapter of their relationship? As Nate contemplates these questions, he's faced with the possibility that the truth may come from someone else. He wonders if he'll learn what he needs to know from another source, someone who isn't bound by the lies that Audra has woven. Could Kyle Abort, for example, hold the key to unlocking the full story? Or will Nate be forced to piece together the truth on his own, even if it means facing painful revelations? Nate is a man of integrity, but he's also a man of great heart. His feelings for Audra are still strong, and part of him wants to believe that she can change, that she can be the woman he once thought she was. But the longer she hides the truth, the harder it becomes to ignore the painful reality that they may never have the future Nate once imagined. And as much as he wants to forgive her, the question remains, can he ever truly trust her again after everything she's done? The answers may lie in the confrontation that's inevitable. Nate's path forward will be determined by how much he is willing to endure, and whether he can find it in his heart to forgive Audra for the deception that has clouded their love. Only time will tell if Nate will be able to move on, or if his love for Audra will hold him captive in a cycle of lies and regret. As the tension between Audra Charles and Nate Hastings continues to rise, both of them find themselves at a crossroads. Their relationship, already strained by deception and hidden agendas, teeters on the edge of collapse. Audra may have the ability to smooth things over with Nate, to draw him back into her arms once more, but the question remains, can their bond withstand the constant barrage of lies, manipulation, and half-truths? Or will Nate, tired of the emotional roller coaster, walk away for good? The power dynamics between them are complex. Audra, adept at playing her cards close to her chest, is willing to do whatever it takes to keep Nate in her life, even if it means once again giving him what he wants her. She knows the power of intimacy and emotional connection. She's aware that for Nate, their physical closeness might be enough to mask the truth, to momentarily erase the doubt that has begun to fester in his mind. But is that really enough to rebuild what's been broken? Nate's pain, his confusion, and his desire for answers have clouded his judgment. He wants the truth, but he also craves the comfort of Audra's presence. Every time she gives him a piece of her heart, he's drawn back in, only to be faced with the realization that her words don't always align with her actions. The lies, the omissions, the manipulations, they build a wall between them that Nate can't ignore forever. While Audra might be able to lure him back into her embrace for a brief moment, it's becoming increasingly clear that their relationship is no longer built on trust. Nate, though still emotionally invested, is on the edge. His heart tells him one thing, while his mind tells him another. How many more times will he allow himself to be drawn into the same cycle of lies and promises before he breaks? How many more secrets can he stomach? Every time he believes Audra's explanations, every time he lets her convince him that everything is fine, the truth slips further away. He knows deep down that this situation can't last forever. The cracks in their relationship are becoming too large to ignore. The emotional exhaustion Nate feels is palpable. The constant questions, the uncertainty about Audra's loyalty, and the nagging doubt that she has been hiding more than just her involvement with Victor Newman weigh heavily on him. While Audra may be trying to play the part of the loving partner, the manipulator in her will always show through. She can't change the fact that she's deceived him. And deep down, Nate knows it. The next phase of their turbulent journey will likely involve more confrontations, more lies to uncover, and more heartache. As much as Audra wants to pretend everything is fine, she can't escape the truth forever. The question now becomes, will Nate continue to fight for her, or will he finally grow tired of the endless back and forth and walk away? Interestingly, others in Genoa City may hold the key to Nate's realization. Nikki Newman, always perceptive and well-connected, might finally be the one to open Nate's eyes to the extent of Audra's deception. She has seen the cracks in their relationship from the outside and might soon decide to share what she knows. But Nikki isn't the only one who could provide Nate with the truth. Diane Jenkins, another woman who has had her own share of scandals and secrets, could also serve as a catalyst for Nate's awakening. Diane has already played a role in the unfolding drama by making contact with Audra before Nate even knew the full truth. Diane's motives, whether driven by vengeance or self-interest, could shed light on Audra's true intentions. The more Nate learns from others, the more he'll see that Audra has been hiding far more than she's willing to admit. And as the truth begins to unravel, Nate will have to come to terms with the realization that the woman he trusted most has lied to him over and over again. Will this be the breaking point for Nate? Can he forgive her once more, or has he reached the end of his emotional tether? The weight of Audra's lies will only continue to grow heavier, and Nate will eventually have to decide whether he can live with them or whether the price of their relationship is too high. As their story unfolds, one thing becomes clear: Nate is not someone who can easily be deceived for long. The truth, no matter how painful, is something he's bound to uncover. And when it's finally revealed, the fallout will be inevitable. Audra may have been able to charm Nate and manipulate his emotions in the past, but how long can she continue to play this game? In the end, the question remains, can Nate and Audra rebuild their relationship, or is the damage done beyond repair? With every lie she tells, with every truth she hides, Audra risks losing the very thing she's trying to preserve: Nate's love.